there's a new darling of the global right. No, not Elon Musk. Musk was in November. This month it's Javier Milei, president of Argentina. In a press conference in the capital, Buenos Aires, this week, Milei announced that for the first time in the last few decades, Argentina was reporting a fiscal surplus. With this, Argentina also came out of recession the country was in for a few years. The milestone marked 1 year since Milei entered office with a promise of shock therapy to the country's ailing economy. A self-declared anarcho-capitalist, Milei's lack of government experience, unkempt hairdo, the Rolling Stones looks, and the free market missionary zeal did not inspire much confidence initially.
Redujimos los ministerios de 18 a 8. Eliminamos casi 100 secretarías y subsecretarías. Cerramos más de 200 áreas que tenían funciones duplicadas u obsoletas. Congelamos el salario de funcionarios de alto rango desde enero hasta la fecha. Cerramos Telam, que funcionaba como una agencia de propaganda kirchnerista y solo este año proyectaba una pérdida de 20.000 millones de pesos. Echamos a 34.000 empleados públicos y les estamos tomando examen de idoneidad a los demás.
A socialist cocktail of welfare programs, pricing controls, and subsidies had ruined the Argentine economy over decades. Deficits led to huge borrowing. Those borrowings led to defaults. Defaults scared investors. And the deficits also led to printing of more money, resulting in runaway inflation. The road to ruin, as always happens, was paved with good intentions of socialist politics, not unfamiliar to many nations around the world. On day one, after assuming office, Milei reduced the number of ministries from 21 to 9, abolishing the education and women and child ministries, among others. Massive job cuts were implemented as Milei set out to implement his slash-and-burn campaign promise. Him holding a chainsaw, signifying the deep cuts he would inflict on profligate government spending, has become an icon of modern right-wing economics these days. For example, he stopped inflation-adjusted university grants, leaving some universities struggling to keep their lights on and elevators running. He downgraded the Culture Ministry, closed the National Theatre Institute, shuttered a state-funded news agency, and defunded scientific research. Public works projects were suspended, leaving cities littered with white elephant structures and an estimated 200,000 construction workers out of jobs. Second, swimming against the global tide of de-dollarization, Milei got the dollar back as the exchange currency for Argentina. The real target of the move was to put a stop to the central bank's propensity to print the home currency peso and thus keep the fire of inflation burning. With that temptation out of sight, inflation figures are down. A year earlier, Argentina was on the verge of economic and social collapse with near 300% annual inflation, collapsing peso, and 40% of its population living below the poverty line. The road was obviously not easy. In the immediate aftermath of the expenditure cuts, job losses, and chainsaw on subsidies, inflation actually spiked. Poverty increased. People flocked to food banks and soup kitchens. Costs of public services went up, and protests erupted across the country. But Milei persisted. To be honest, it's too early to call it a mission accomplished. Argentine economy is still anemic. Half the people are still below the poverty line, and it's going to be a test of nerves. For the time being, Milei is soaking in fame under the sun. America's President-elect Donald Trump serenaded him at his Mar-a-Lago residence last fortnight. Milei claims that his slash-and-burn has actually inspired Trump to set up the Department of Government Efficiency, now headed by Musk, with similar objectives for the United States. Giorgia Meloni granted him with honorary citizenship of Italy last week. What are the lessons for India in the Milei experiment? Let me say this. There's a scope in India to prune government spending while we are still in control of the numbers. The debt to GDP ratio looks reasonably good. The fiscal deficit is in line with the glide path envisaged under the Fiscal Responsibility Act. The Modi government's post-COVID welfarism on food and housing subsidies seems to be not pinching much. This is the time to perhaps look at some low-hanging fruits. For example, can the three ministries of civil aviation, ports, shipping and waterways, and roads and transport and highways be clubbed together into a jumbo ministry of transportation? Maybe at some stage even railways could be merged. After all, the independent rail budget was merged with the main union budget a decade ago and nobody complained. Can the four ministries of power, renewable and non-renewable energy, coal and mines, and petroleum and natural gas be clubbed for synergies on India's energy security, even as we slim the public expenditure by at least 20 top bureaucrats' salaries and pensions? Can the food processing industry ministry be merged either with agriculture or industries? Can the ministries of forests, environment and climate change be clubbed with that of Jal Shakti? For the Jal Shakti ministry, the argument could be that the project of getting Har Ghar Jal is being done in mission mode. So it's more like a special purpose vehicle. In which case, the government should put a date by which the ministry should cease to exist once the project is over. All pipelines are laid and all taps running with water in each home in the country. Why have separate ministries for industries, micro, small and medium enterprises, chemicals and fertilizers, heavy industries and steel? Just merge the five into one. Another 20 bureaucrats are spared from their onerous responsibilities. Actually much more. Those are only the top. There is logic to the expansionism of ministries. One, that the mission mode principle like it applies to the Jal Shakti ministry. And second, the political imperative of accommodating allies and political interests. Like the BJP never tries of underscoring how under the Vajpayee government, India got a ministry dedicated to tribal affairs, or how under the present Modi government, there is a dedicated ministry for Ayurveda and skill development. I guess abolishing the last one would be a good beginning. You don't need the government to upskill society. People would do it on their own. A division in the education ministry can handle whatever the skills ministry is doing in the present. If not the Modi government, I wonder who can achieve minimum government, maximum governance in India. Thanks for watching.